Our story begins in the 1970s, where video game graphics were as basic as you can imagine. We're talking Pong, literally just two white paddles and a square pixel bouncing between them. To us now, it looks laughably simple, but back then, this was revolutionary. These games ran on incredibly limited hardware, often just a few kilobytes of memory, meaning every single pixel mattered. Games like Space Invaders and Asteroid pushed these limits. Tiny, blocky shapes that somehow captured the imagination of millions. People lined up at arcades not because the graphics were realistic, but because they were new, addictive, and unlike anything the world has ever seen. The funny part is, these graphics weren't designed to look realistic at all. They were more like symbols. That little triangle in Asteroids, your brain had to imagine that was a spaceship. The rows of blocky aliens in Space Invaders, players saw them as terrifying invaders from space. The magic wasn't in how real it looked, but how much your mind filled in the blanks. This era proved one thing. Even with the simplest visuals, gameplay and imagination could create something timeless. The next leap forward came in the 1980s, where home consoles like the Nintendo Entertainment System brought 8-bit graphics into living rooms everywhere. This is where video games started to look more like actual worlds instead of abstract symbols. Suddenly, we had characters like Mario with a recognizable hat and a mustache, and colorful levels filled with clouds, mushrooms, and castles. The difference between arcade stick figures and NES sprites was night and day. For the first time, characters had personalities that you can see right on the screen, and players got attached to them. What made 8-bit so special wasn't just the brighter colors, but how developers used limitations creatively. With only a handful of pixels, artists managed to create characters that felt alive. Think about Link in The Legend of Zelda, Mega Man's blue armor, or the Ghost in Pac-Man. These designs were simple, but unforgettable. The 8-bit era set the foundation for modern gaming icons, and made games feel less like simple distractions and more like entire adventures. Then came the 16-bit era, and with it, the golden age of pixel art. Systems like the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis doubled the power of 8-bit consoles, unlocking richer colors, smoother animations, and more detailed environments. Suddenly, Mario's world wasn't just blocks and pipes, it was lush forests, snowy mountains, and haunted castles. Sonic the Hedgehog blurred across levels with speed never seen before, while fighting games like Street Fighter II brought characters to life with bold designs and fluid motions. Compared to the 8-bit era, this felt like stepping into an entirely different dimension. 8-bit also gave the rise to some of the most beautiful 2D art ever created. Games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy V pushed consoles to their absolute limits, creating pixel art so detailed it still holds up today. Developers layered parallax scrolling to make backgrounds feel alive, and special effects like Mode 7 on the SNES let games create fake 3D illusions, like in F-Zero and in Mario Kart. This era was the peak of 2D graphics, so good that many modern indie games still use this style today. The mid-1990s blew everyone's minds, because video games finally stepped into the third dimension. Consoles like the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Sega Saturn introduced polygon-based graphics. Suddenly, instead of looking at a flat character on a screen, players could explore 3D worlds. Super Mario 64 completely changed the game. Running, jumping, and exploring a fully 3D castle felt like magic. Tomb Raider gave us Lara Croft, blocky sure, but a whole new type of video game character. And racing games like Gran Turismo pushed realism like never before. Let's be honest, early 3D was rough. Characters looked like they were made out of Lego bricks, textures were blurry, and frame rates could be choppy, sure. Still, nobody cared. The leap to 3D was so massive that even the jagged edges couldn't ruin the excitement. For the first time, games felt like real places you could walk around in. This era wasn't about perfection, but it was about breaking into an entirely different dimension. As technology advanced into the 2000s, video games entered a new stage, the pursuit of realism. The PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube brought more powerful 3D graphics, with smoother models and more detailed environments. Grand Theft Auto 3 gave players an open-world city that felt alive. Halo revolutionized shooters with sci-fi worlds that felt huge. Even sports games like Madden and FIFA were starting to look almost like real broadcasts. Compared to the blocky graphics of the 90s, this was like night and day. By the mid-2000s, HD consoles like the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 pushed realism even further. Suddenly, we had games like Call of Duty 4, Gears of War, and Uncharted, where lighting, shadows, and character models made games look cinematic. This was the era where people started asking, are we reaching the peak of graphics? Spoiler alert, we weren't even close. The 2010s brought video games to a level where they truly rivaled movies. Consoles like the PS4 and Xbox One delivered ultra-realistic character models, lifelike environments, and advanced motion capture. Games like The Last of Us showed us facial animations so detailed that you could feel the characters' emotions. Assassin's Creed took us through incredibly detailed recreations of historical cities. Meanwhile, indie developers embraced stylized graphics, proving that games didn't have to look realistic to be beautiful. This was also the decade where PC gaming pushed graphics beyond console limits. Ultra settings, 4K resolution, and advanced graphics engines made games like Crysis, The Witcher 3, and Battlefield look jaw-dropping. The 2010s set a standard. Video games weren't just entertainment anymore, they were experiences on par with Hollywood productions. Now, we've arrived at the modern era, the 2020s, where video game graphics are pushing the line between reality and simulation. Games like Cyberpunk 2077, Horizon Forbidden West, and Red Dead Redemption 2 show just how far graphics have come, with hyper-detailed worlds, realistic lighting, and textures so sharp you can see dust particles in the air. Ray tracing has changed everything, making light and reflections behave just like in the real world. And with the power of the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and high-end PCs, games are now running in 4K at smooth frame rates with high detail once thought impossible. But graphics aren't just about realism anymore, they're about style too. Games like Fortnite, Valorant, and countless indie games prove that unique art styles can be just as striking as photorealism. The real future isn't just about making games look real, but about making them look incredible in whatever way fits the story. From lifelike realism to creative stylization, the possibilities are endless, and the evolution of video game graphics is far from over. Now that you've seen every single video game era in history, what's your favorite era? Drop it in the comments below and see what other people think as well. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to subscribe and like this video so you know whenever I upload a new video like this again.